Hi, hello and welcome back to F1 Challenge VB. My name is Mephisto and our journey through the history of Formula 1 continues today with the 7th round of the 1959 season, the Portuguese Grand Prix. It was held on the 23rd of August, it had 16 entries, all of them took part in the race but 6 ended up retiring. The race consisted of 62 laps, completed in 2 hours 11 minutes and 55 seconds. Moss started the race from pole with Brabham in 2nd, Gregory 3rd, Trintignant 4th and Joe Bonnier started from 5th. Sterling Moss drove a superb race to win the Portuguese Grand Prix. Gregory came home in 2nd, he was 1 lap down. Gurney finished in 3rd, he was also 1 lap down. Trintignant crossed the line in 4th, he was 2 laps down, whilst Harry Schell finished in 5th, he was 3 laps adrift. Sterling Moss also posted the fastest lap of the race, a 2 minute 5.07 second lap. We're here in Monsanto for the Portuguese Grand Prix, where a lap starts off with a long run down into turn 1, a medium speed left-hander. This is followed immediately by turn 2, a tight right-hand hairpin. This leads on to the longest straight on the circuit, which ends with a right-left chicane. Be careful as the exit is noticeably tighter than the entry. This is followed by a long right-hander, which ends with turn 4, a tight right-hand hairpin. Turn 5 is next, a medium speed right-hander, followed by turn 6, a slow left-hander. Turn 7 is another medium speed right-hander, which is followed by turn 8, another slow speed left-hander. Next is a long open left-hander which ends with the last corner of the track, a double apex right-hander. This is probably the most difficult corner on the track as it is completely blind and quite bumpy as well. But this brings us around onto the main straight, and that is a lap around the Monsanto circuit. And here we are in qualifying for the Portuguese Grand Prix, coming out of the final corner to set our first time lap, a 2:31.569. Unfortunately, I was held up by a lot of traffic all around the circuit, so that was very slower than I would have expected. However, I eventually managed to get a free track, clear of anything, and I managed to put in a 2 minute 07.78 second lap. It's still nowhere near Graham Hill's pole time, but at least it was a lot faster. However, I then messed up my entry into the first corner, crashed, and I decided that, well, that would be the end of qualifying. And here is the previous Grand Prix winner, Tony Brooks. He won in Porto in 1958. And that's pretty much it for now. Last year was the first Portuguese Grand Prix. Anyway, we have Brabham on pole with Sterling Moss in 2nd, Tony Brooks 3rd, Graham Hill 4th, Maurice Trintignant rounding off the top 5. Maston Gregory is 6th, Bruce McLaren 7th, Ireland 8th, followed by Phil Hill in 9th, Joe Bonnier 10th, 11th is Shelby, 12th is Roy Salvadori, 13th Harry Schell, 14th Cliff Allison, 15th Olivier Gendebien, followed by Dan Gurney in 16th, 17th is Jean Berra, but obviously we know he's no longer with us, 18th Ronald Flockhart, 19th Andy Higgs, and Ian Burgess starting from 20th. So that's the grid lineup for the Portuguese Grand Prix. I'm quite looking forward to this track. It's quite a fun little track, although I didn't race too much here before this, but in the little time I did spend on the track, it was quite fun, and the Ferraris pull off quite quickly, although they get bogged down by the slower cars immediately. As we now rush towards turn 1, we are right behind Carroll Shelby in his Aston Martin, chasing after Ian Burgess in the Maserati, and we come into turn 1 here. I slow down, go wide off the track even, and if this was modern day, I probably would have gotten a track extension warning, but this is 1959, so there was no such thing back then. Anyway, we move up into 13th thanks to all that mucking about by the AI, and here is a replay of the start. A bit of smoke coming off my wheels, I'm not quite sure why that is. Well, whatever. As we now rush once again towards turn 1, I lost a position on the start, but then obviously we gained a bunch of positions coming into turn 1 and 2 when the AI lost control of their cars. As we now see Andy coming through turn 1, goes very wide, and well, That's a very helpful camera angle. Anyway, this is Phil Hill losing control of his number 10 Ferrari, crashing into the hedge fence there. Flips his car upside down, loses both his front wheels, and he's out of the race. Next we have Olivier Gandebian, who loses control of his car, goes off screen. I have no idea what's happening, but I assume he has retired. This is a very useful camera angle as well. Oh, there is Phil Hill. Gandebian, I mean. Anyway, this is Graham Hill losing control of his Lotus. Crashes into the fence there, and I'm guessing he got stuck there. He cannot come back out. Regardless, we now see Dan Gurney losing control of his Ferrari. Flips it upside down, and well, just like everyone else before him, he is out of the Portuguese Grand Prix. Next we have Phil Hill towards the end of the lap coming into the pits to retire, as it seems. So he is out. And we also have Tony Brooks and his Ferrari. Loses control of his car, hits the wall, loses his front left, and he is also out of the Portuguese Grand Prix. So those are the first retirements of the race. As we now move on to lap 2, near to the end of lap 2 actually, coming around out of the final corner. That was Sterling Moss trying to recover his car. And here we see a replay of Bruce McLaren. He loses control of the car, flies off the track into the woods there. He flips his car upside down and he is out of the race. Next we have Jack Brabham in his Lotus coming through, I believe, the final corner, loses control of his car. And he then drives in the opposite direction of the track direction. I'm not entirely sure what he's trying to accomplish here. Maybe he's trying to crash into someone. Oh no, he turns... Well done, Jack Brabham, well done. After all that, you thought he might have tried to correct himself, but no, he drove straight into a wall and retired as well. Anyway, we now move on to lap 3, and someone's right behind us, and this is a replay of Sterling Moss, who, well, as you can see, retires. Loses control, and that's me behind him coming around to get into position. This is a replay of Ronald Flockhart losing control of his BRM, and he somehow reverses his car down into this this part and kind of gets stuck there, so he is out. Next we have Innes Ireland losing control of his Lotus. He drives up that little hill and flips his car upside down, and he is also out of the Portuguese Grand Prix. This is starting to be quite annoying. Anyway, this is Maurice Tintignan in his Cooper coming around, loses control coming out of the final corner, and I'm not quite sure what he's doing. He can obviously turn... No, he decides to drive into the pit wall there, because that makes a lot of sense. Anyway, we now move on to lap 4. We are in second place, chasing after Roy Salvadori. Ian Burgess is behind us, and this is a replay of Maston Gregory losing control of his Cooper coming out of the final corner, and he is slowly driving towards the center of the road. What is going on? And he just parks it there. Yeah, that's a good strategy to winning races, I guess. You just stop your car in the middle of the road and hope for the best, I guess. Anyway, we now move on to lap 5. Ian Burgess has passed me not so long ago, so we drop down to 3rd. And we now have a replay of Harry Schell coming through this right-hander. He loses control of his BRM. He kind of catches it. He starts driving in the opposite direction of the traffic flow. He hits something, and I think he lost his front left wheel, so he is out of the Grand Prix. I can't really tell what happened because the camera was right up in his face. Anyway, we were just lapped by Ian Burgess on lap 14. So we are actually 2 laps down at this point. And this is Joe Bonnier coming through, this right-hander. He also loses control of his car, manages to save it, and pretty much does what Harry Schell did not so long ago. Drives into a wall, and I think he lost his wheel. Yep, there is his wheel. We can see it there, kind of freaking out a little bit. So this is still lap 14. Ian Burgess has lapped us, and Carroll Shelby is starting to catch up to us. Hopefully we'll be able to finish the race in third, but we'll see as we now come out of the out of the last corner on lap 19. Roy Salvadori crossed the line to take the win. We are 2 laps down, so that's the end of the Portuguese Grand Prix for us as well. We just made it into the top. We just managed to break 90% of race distance, so that's quite nice. It means we will get some points. And here are the retirements. A lot of people, well, 15 to be exact, because, well, only 19 of us are still in the race because of Jean Berra's tragic death before the German Grand Prix. But that was the Portuguese Grand Prix. I'm not quite sure what to say about this. The track itself is very, very enjoyable. Unfortunately, because of all the retirements, it was quite frustrating. I've cut out a lot of the frustrating bits, but there were a lot, especially at the during the opening stages where, well, people were all over the goddamn track and you had to duck and weave between them to get anywhere. Anyway, here are the career statistics, and this was Andy's 83rd Grand Prix. His best start is from first, has 4 pole positions, has set 15 fastest laps. His best finishes in first, has completed 58 races, 15 of them in the points, has won 31 Grand Prix, 4 at the Indianapolis 500, 5 at the Monaco Grand Prix, has 6 championships under his belt, has scored a total of 344 points, has retired 25 times, has experienced 1,919 out of 2,322 laps, has 6 bronze trophies, 8 silver trophies, 31 gold trophies, and as an extension, 31 podiums. And here is a quick look at the championship standings. Andy Higgs is still in the lead. Ian Burgess moves up into second, Bruce McLaren is third, Graham Hill fourth, Innes Ireland fifth. The last person to have scored points is Tony Brooks in 14th, and at the very bottom of the standings we have Cliff Allison. So looking at the standings at the moment, at the points, I'm quite skeptical about anyone being able to beat Andy Higgs this season. So to me it looks pretty much like this is going to be Andy's 7th world title, but I guess we'll have to see. I think mathematically there's still a slight possibility that Ian Burgess might win, but actually wait, there are 16 more points left in the championship. Well, 18 if we count fastest laps. That's assuming he can post fastest laps. So yeah, technically he could still win this, although I'm quite sure he will not. So I'm pretty sure that by this point Andy Higgs is the 1959 world champion. I'm pretty sure this is all set by now. There's little doubt in my mind that anyone can take it at this point. Anyway, let's move on to the constructors. Porsche are leading the Constructors' Championship. Lotus are in second. Maserati and Aston Martin are fighting for third. And Cooper Climax are in fifth. BRM are yet to score points, as well as Ferrari, who I don't think will be able to because, well, as we've seen, they tend to retire quite early on in the race. In any race, that is. But anyway, that was the Portuguese Grand Prix. Again, the track itself is a lot of fun. I enjoy driving around on it, but I would have liked to see more competition as well. The AI really doesn't like this circuit, and overall turned out to be quite frustrating for me as well because of it. But that is the end of this video. Again, I'm pretty sure that the Drivers' Championship is settled already. I don't really think that Burgess can pull 2 victories and also score the fastest laps in the remaining 2 races. I would be very surprised if he did. I actually would be quite pleased to see him take the world title in the final 2 races, but there's little doubt in my mind that Higgs will actually be the world champion. So that's that, I guess. Anyway, that is the end of the Portuguese Grand Prix, the end of this video. Don't forget to vote for next season's team, link is in the description. I also have a second channel where I will be playing all sorts of different games. At the moment I'm doing a let's play of Need for Speed Underground 2 as well as IL2's Term Effect, so if you're interested in any of those, there is a link in the description to that as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay sharp.